And towards the end of his life, he became a priest. And at 75, he was the abbot of a monastery in the desert called Patra in Egypt. And this is what actually really blew me away, his ending. This is what happened at the end of his life. He stood there and he said to them, all of a sudden, he said, listen, there are people, they're coming, they're going to kill everybody. I want you all to leave. And these are now, instead of 70 gang members, he's got 70 disciples. You know, he's the abbot of a monastery, 75-year-old man. And they were like confused. They said, what are you saying? He says, no, they're going to be here in 10 minutes. I mean, you don't have much time. Please go, get out. And they were saying, well, what about you, Abba? And he said, no, I actually, I waited for this moment all my life. I want to glorify the words of my Lord and my Savior, that who takes the sword must die by the sword. But that's my choice. I chose that. You don't have to go through that. So please, again, I'm telling you a few minutes to leave. So what happened, all of them leave, and 7 of them stayed with him. They said, well, we're going to go through that with you. And probably through the providence of God, one of them couldn't quite go through it. So he hid somewhere behind a bush or in a hole, I don't know exactly where, while they came in and they killed everybody, including Saint Moses the Black. They slaughtered them, but he was able to witness Jesus giving the crown of thorns to each one of them. And Saint Moses is known in the Desert Fathers as one of the, like Saint Mary of Egypt, like one of the greatest examples of repentance. So you know, tackling something like that, my idea is to tell a story of a gang leader in Chicago, South Side Chicago, to make it current, so people can relate to it, and to tell a story of a guy who's gonna be somebody who's, I'd say again, late 20s, early 30s. He's a leader of one of the gangs. He is angry, doesn't really believe in anything. He has a mom who is a believer. Usually that happens in those kind of communities. We can see that she's trying to tell him something. He has respect for his mother, but he says to her, listen, if there's really heaven or hell, I'm going to go to the other one, and I don't mind what I've done. I'll do it again. I can die tomorrow, and all that kind of stuff that people usually say in that situation. But she, at that point, she gives him a picture of Saint Moses, and she said, listen, can you please take this? I asked God to grant me a wish, and I already was granted a wish, but you take this. Who is this? It's Moses. His name is Saint Moses. He's done worse things than you have, and he's a saint now. So can you imagine the guy? He'll probably be half maybe Hispanic, half Black. You know, we'll make him very current, you know, so we can have a very so the audience will be diverse for this kind of film. And he's going to tell her, well, listen, I certainly appreciate your prayers. Maybe I'm still alive because of that. And then but he obviously is not going to change right there and then. He takes the picture, and the next day, actually, we see his mother getting buried. She actually dies. And at the funeral, there is a shootout, because usually this is where it happens. At the funerals, they wait for the opposing gang comes in and shoots out. And between him miraculously surviving the shootout, because he was basically, even though some of his buddies die, and he knows between that picture and all of that, he just now is no longer the same, you know, but he has to continue doing what he needs to do. They need to retaliate. They need to do what you do on the streets, you know, to survive. And to cut the story short, basically, he's gonna see Moses the Black one night in a dream. It's gonna be a way, I'm gonna do it. And then after that, he's gonna figure out that this was a real person. So as he's going through this whole very intense kind of gangster story, you know, which is gonna be dynamic, you're gonna see him thinking about him, and you're going to see some main scenes from Saint Moses the Black's life, to all the way till the end, where he speaks to the priest, and he asks the father, when he goes to that priest who was at the funeral, who was his mom's priest, and you're going to see the icon of Saint Moses the Black. So you're going to know, people that watch it, they're going to know, well, this was a real person. This is not just some fiction character that Yelena came up with to try to help people. It's actually, you know, a man that actually lived, that it's a real saint who really lived that kind of life. And he's going to ask the father, are you really telling me that if I repent, that I can be forgiven for what I've done, that I can go to heaven? And the priest will tell him, well, if there's no forgiveness for you, then there's no forgiveness for anybody. That's basically the bottom line. So what he decides to do at the end is to give himself in, give himself in, because it gets really intense. They go after his best friend, his family, you know, so he needs to do something to save everybody. So what does he do? He does the same thing, Saint Moses the Black, that he gives up his life for others. So this is I think this will be in my opinion a very strong story where Saint Moses the Black will come alive through the life of a person that we can relate to. I'm saying me, okay, I'm not a gang leader, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, I actually, if I can, the most important is to tell the story that's very truthful. I'm going to have consultants on the script. They're actually people that used to live that life. They're from Southside Chicago, so the movie is going to be very real. It's not going to be fake. Again, like with Man of God, it can be fake because there's anything fake in it. That's when the spirituality kind of goes out of the window. So we have to make a real film. It's not going to be for kids, but it's going to be for young adults, for people that it's really, I'm making this to help those that unfortunately fall victim to that kind of life, and to show them that there is a hope, that there is a way out, and that with God, everything is possible. And hopefully Moses the Black can become a role model. That would be my goal with this. So I hope that, you see, it's different, but it's along the lines, it's in a way, it's I think that's the way to tell this story, because if you just tell the story and I have to invent so many things in 4th century Egypt, it's not going to have the same impact as if story that people can relate to nowadays. And a lot more people will be interesting to go see it. You know what I'm saying? They'll just simply go in there to watch it. Oh, you know, the gangster film, the rappers, the music, you know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden they're in there and they're going to walk out of that theater going like, wow, I better rethink my life. And that's what my goal is.
Amen.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And then you guys are all young, so you can tell me if that's a
Yeah,
I'm
no,
trying to
it
make
does.
something for you.
It sounds wonderful. Absolutely.
Act in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's just obviously it's going to be, I'm just kind of giving you a ballpark of a story, but that's usually if you can tell a story in a very simple manner, then the story is there, you know.
Yeah.
Usually
You can tell. You
yeah, the
have
problem.
a firm grasp of it already. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I'm already hooked. Yeah. Nick's got a
so-
question.
I just,
Yeah.
it's just a comment to say that it's exciting to think that this obscure saint, you know, at least for our society, you know, Saint Moses, he's from Africa, he's from the 3rd century, he's not known by people of the West, you know, modern people
Yeah.
of the West, unless if you're Orthodox or something. So it's exciting to think that a story like this could be a reachable, you know, to a huge audience of modern, you know, people in the West, you know,
Yeah,
people that really need it. So
Have
No,
you had much, sorry,
go ahead.
have you had much interaction from like people from like a Protestant background at watching this film and
Man of God, I actually did. I mean, you know, one thing about Man of God, which was, I think, good, is that different denominations, people really loved the movie. They didn't feel, they really, really liked it. And they were curious about who is Saint Nektarios, and even people that didn't have any faith, you know, like they really like watching the film. And I think that's how we need to make these films, you know, in order to make a difference if possible, you know, like we can't, you know, can't be trying to tell something to somebody, like, you know, it's people are, you have to have respect for people. I think God gives everybody a choice. That's the beauty about it. We all have a free choice. And if he respects our free choice, as an artist myself, I have to respect the free choice of people that I'm sharing my art with. And I think that's what I've done. And I think that's why people, they're Protestants and they're, I mean, they really liked it. It doesn't mean they will run and become Orthodox 3 days later, but you know, it's like interesting thing. Actually, people that were, I was just in the monastery of Archangels in Texas, and one of the monks told me that they have a lot of converts, right? People that are curious about Orthodoxy, and a lot of them were not sure. They were just kind of checking it out. And after watching the movie, he says, everybody he says who watched the movie became Orthodox. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's cool. I didn't, you know, I didn't try necessarily to convert anybody, but I guess if you're just simply telling the truth, that's the most powerful tool that you have, and doing it by example. And what I'm trying to do, honestly, not only with this next film, okay, the next film is something that I would write and direct, but I can't write and direct every single film about a saint. So nor would I want to do that. That would be a little bit kind of, I think, fake and egotistical, but just I'll do what I feel I can do, which I think if God gives me enough strength and to do the next one, I'll be happy with that. But what I would also like to do, and we're putting the fund together on the slate of films to bring these lives of the saints to the big screen in a way that I'm kind of a different way, in the sense that people can relate to them nowadays, and to give a chance to other filmmakers, young filmmakers and writers, because if I manage to do this, that's what I would do, because my company will have to then deliver like 1 or 2 films a year, which is, there's no way I can, nor do I want to do that. But like, you know, it would be good for people out there, they're willing to do similar thing that I'm doing, you know, they would actually have believe me, because it's not easy to get these funds in place. That's one thing that I'm like not like fan of doing, but without that, it's just one cannot make a movie. So yeah, on that note, I mean, we can obviously continue the conversation, but I would like to say that if anybody would like to contribute anything to that, there is a website that's called Simeon, SIMEON, faith.com, and you have there, you can see, you can donate whatever you're capable. It's tax deductible. I mean, it'll go towards that, the next project I'm doing. And obviously we have 2 things. I'm going and meeting like high net individuals. They're there to invest 50,000 and up. You know, there are people already they're doing it, thank God. I mean, it's going, but also at the same time, we open this tax deductible page for people that obviously don't, like myself, you know, they're not like high net individuals, but they can contribute whatever they can, and obviously that's also very helpful. I would appreciate if anybody is willing to donate. Yeah, it would help me out.
I'm going to share the link with our group and everything. Are you interested? Does it have the capability for reoccurring? When you and I first talked, we talked about maybe someone who wanted to do $10 a month, for example, or $5 a month. Perfect. Yeah. Because that's huge, right? And I think a lot of people in our community, maybe they can't give $50,000 today.
No,
but they can give, you know, maybe a few dollars a month.
I think it's there. I think minimum is I think it's 50, but
Okay.
even that once it's enough, you know. I mean,
Sure.
It doesn't. I haven't made this page. I mean, there are people that did it, you know. But whatever you can give. I mean, I know maybe even 2 people that give 25, you know, like that comes up to 50. You know, it's like it helps, you know, people, especially people that have seen Men of God. A lot of people have seen it. Like, I think there's about 60-something thousand people that have seen Men of God. So if you can let your friends know they've seen it, I mean, that could be a huge help.
Absolutely.
I have one
And
more
obviously
question about
this will go towards the, you know, I'm honestly passionate about this. This will go towards making the next film, not for, you know, I have as a filmmaker, you know, once the movies go into production, then you get paid whatever, you know, as a filmmaker, as a writer, but I don't take this for myself. I wait till we get to a certain point so we can even green light the pictures, and it'll go towards the film. That's all.
So I have one more question about future projects. Do you have something planned for Father Seraphim Rose?
It's funny how you're telling me this. I actually do. Somebody contacted me and they're actually working on the script. So that's the one that I will not be directing.